Hi, welcome to this lesson. So we're gonna start with our do while loop in this lesson. So that's the last loop of all of the loops, right? Well, the do while loop is similar to the while loop, okay? The only difference in the syntax is after you give your initialization like this, okay? So you have to give your initialization like this, okay? And then after that you have to start with just this, okay? There's no condition in here, you just have to give a do in here, and all of your blocks of code would be here, and then there's an increment or a decrement here. It can be either increment or decrement in here, and then here after the brackets or after the flower brackets got over, you have to give your while with a condition. Okay, so that's the only difference with your do while loop. So you do the initialization as it is, the block of code and the increment decrement is the same. The only difference is there's a do at the start without any condition, and after the end there is a while with the condition. It's this particular loop is pretty much never used. Okay, you either stick with your for, and in certain instances you go for your while. You never really use your do while loop. So if you don't want to use it, it's just something that you have to learn. That's it, just learn it. If you want to, you can use it. Okay, so what happens with this loop is I'll give you an example. I'll just first comment this out first. Okay, so with your while loop, let me create a while loop here. Okay, what's the difference between while loop and the do while loop? So I created something where I is 11, okay, but I've given a condition where if I, as long as I is less than or equal to 10, you have to execute the loop, and inside of here you can give something like a console.log of I or something like that, and after that you can give your increment or decrement. That's up to you. I'll just give it increment like this. But the thing is, the initialization is actually 11. Okay, I gave 11 in here. So if I check for this, if I check for my live preview like this, let me see if I'm actually getting something in my console. Look at that, there's nothing in the console. So the while loop will not execute at all if the first condition is not met. So I is 11, so is 11 less than or equal to 10? Nope, it's not. So the first condition is false, so the while loop will never execute. On the other hand, if I change this to my do while loop, okay, you already know the syntax from here, right? So if I do it with the do while loop, the do like this, and in here if I give a while, always end your do while loop with a semicolon. If you don't, you're going to get an error. Okay, always end it with a semicolon. So if I do it like do while like this, if I refresh, look at that, I'm getting 11. Now that's because it'll even if the condition is false, what's happening here is it's going to come in here. It's going to do a console.log of the current value of I, which is 11, and then it's going to increment it, and it's going to make it 12 like this. But then it's going to look at the while condition, and it's going to say, oh my goodness, this does not 12. It's going to check if 12 is less than or equal to 10, which is false, and then it's going to stop the execution. But it's still executed it once, right? Just one time, and that's all it needed. So that's going to be there. Okay, so that's your do while loop. So as I told you before, you're pretty much never going to have to use this, because what's the use of something that checks for the condition later on? If you do find a use for it, if you do need it in your code, you can use it. Okay, so those are your loops. So you've finished a very big part of JavaScript. Loops are very important, and we looked at conditional statements and loops so far. So I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you.